You want to get better at takedowns, but you're afraid of getting hurt. Everybody's got a job they got to go to tomorrow. How do you get better at takedowns without getting hurt? Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of Top Level Martial Arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. You're watching Professor's Corner. Thank you for watching. For those of you who don't know, I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer and Tony Rinaldi. Listen, takedowns. Takedowns are without a doubt the most dangerous part of Jiu-Jitsu. That is where almost all injuries happen. And the reason for that is what? You have uncontrolled weight falling through the air. So the question becomes, hey, I want to have a handle on how to take someone down and how to put them on the ground and how to make sure that I have that capability, but I don't know exactly where to start. I don't know how to do that on a regular basis without, one, getting hurt, and two, getting my body just beat up on a regular basis. Listen, let's think about the typical wrestler. The typical wrestler is a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid who, has probably been wrestling for years and isn't going to wrestle much past 22, 23, and that's if they go and do wrestling in college. Maybe you have that extremely rare person that does wrestling, all the way into the Olympic level, so they do it a little past that. Most people, after the age of 18, never do it again. You're a 44-year-old accountant, and you want to know how you can do some better wrestling, right? You can't just jump in and do it as so many people would have you think. That's going to get you injured, especially if you've lived a relatively sedentary life up until starting jiu-jitsu. It's just not a smart move to just say, okay, I guess we're just practicing takedowns today, and then you just go. So the question becomes, how do you do it? Well, one, you have to learn the moves. And listen, I think one of the best ways that someone ever kind of worded this, and it's a friend of mine named David Porter, and if you haven't met David, he's got stuff out on BJJ Fanatics and just a phenomenal competitor and just a great instructor to begin with. But he likes to put it in three levels of learning, right? You have uncontested movement. Uncontested movement means that there is no human in front of you. Can you just perform the mechanic without a person? Because if you can't do that, if I can't just do I can't practice my drop step or my penetrations without another human being present, and I don't have the ability to stabilize myself, well, then putting another person there is just going to make it more dangerous, right? I might fall into their knees. I might drive my own knee into the ground. There's a lot of things that might happen. So always start there, is practice the movement without any human beings around. The second part of this is having a person there but not giving you much resistance. That's just the resistance of their body, their natural resistance, as opposed to trying to stop you from doing the movement. So that would be level 2. So now this is when the person just stands there and it's just blind drilling. And I know a lot of people don't like blind drilling or drilling that doesn't have any kind of resistance to it, but it is a crucial step to just letting your body understand the mechanics of a movement. Yes, I agree. You're not going to get the same level as you would. A good example is people are like, there's no point in sitting there and drilling an armbar 900 times without any resistance. There actually is. The point is, now my body's learning how to move around another body. Okay? And until you get that, you're not going to get it with resistance either. And then you have resisted technique, fully contested technique, where you're trying to hit the move while they're trying to stop you from hitting the move. So those are the three levels at which you can train moves. So the question becomes now, okay, I have the uncontested movement. I can do fit-ins. I can do all my uchikomi. I can do all my drop steps, and I can do all of that with no problem. And I can even perform it with zero resistance. So how do I safely go about learning takedowns and doing takedowns, and kind of limit my exposure to injury? Maybe you have a job that's really important, and you can't go in with banged up toes and all that kind of stuff. Although, I'm gonna be honest, if you can't go in with banged up toes, jiu-jitsu is probably not the art for you. You know, I would say martial arts in general is not for you. Even studying karate, my toes got messed up a lot. You know, just you throw a kick and boom, they block with an elbow. You know, and you kick their elbow or their knee or something like that. You know, you're going to have injuries that happen. So my point is, how do we do this? So this is the next level. I recommend it like an intermediary level, and I think that most of the time, this is how you should be training your takedowns. Have your training partner, and remember that word, training partner. They're not an opponent. They're only an opponent if you're in competition. And if you're asking me right now, well, how do I train takedowns, you know, in the safest possible fashion? We're not talking about a competition right now, right? So your training partner, have them give you a specific defensive reaction and say, okay, I'm going, you know, I want to set up my single leg. Once I get a hold of it, you know, the only thing I want you to do to try to stop it is this. So you both know what's going to happen. And then you either know you're going to get to win it or know you're going to get to lose it, depending on what you guys are working on. In this case, you're trying to get better at takedowns, so you know you're going to win. And then start the roll live. You know, if that's even what you want to do. If all you want to do is the drills, then just do the drills. That's fine. But usually the goal is, okay, I want to be able to take my opponent down and then go into a match. So make it so that they can't give you full-on resistance until they hit the ground. And that's going to give you probably the most important part of the takedown, which is controlling them once you hit the ground. One of the things, the unsung heroes in my mind of competition jiu-jitsu is the importance it puts on controlling a position or a sweep after you do it. How many times have you been rolling and, like, you know, you sweep your buddy and they're like, oh, I got swept, right? And then they start playing guard, you know, or, you know, you do a takedown and you know, they go down and they just start playing guard. Guys, that does not happen in tournament jiu-jitsu. Not on purpose. Most people, if you get taken down, they're going to try to stand up, because if they're controlled on the ground to some degree, you'll get points for it, and they don't want to give up points. And the reason for that is the value it has in an actual fight. If you watch actual fights and people get knocked down, they're trying to get up real quick. So that's a very powerful thing, is just to be able to say, okay, I get to win the single leg. Boom, I'm going to take you down, but you're allowed to stand back up real quick. You know, train that half of it. Because quite frankly, against someone who doesn't know how to do jiu-jitsu, it's pretty easy to get a hold of their leg to just do a single leg takedown, or even just, you know, like even foot sweeps. But if you don't have good awareness on how to control the body at the end of that, that's where you're going to run into it. And it's far less dangerous of an area to practice. So how do you do it? You high five, you fist bump, and you know, maybe you start in your high collar tie. You know that you're going to hit takedown A. You know, they're going to give you, you know, this particular defense. You're going to go to takedown A, and the moment their hips touch the ground, game on. They can try to get back up. They can go to guard. They can do whatever they want. That's a great way to train it on a regular basis without getting hurt. And then every once in a while, maybe once a week, maybe even once a month, you throw in, okay, let's do full resistance on this. This is going to do a few things. One, it's going to condition your body over time, which is important, because one of the number one ways to get injured is that you're doing movements that are relatively foreign to you. And as I mentioned earlier, you're a 45-year-old accountant who's been relatively sedentary for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden you start trying to do takedowns. You're going to be using muscles and synergies in ways that you haven't done in years, and that you're likely to injure yourself if you start going 100% on everything. So, you know, just do it once or twice a month after you've developed that musculature and those movements and those synergies. Your body isn't used to moving and twisting and doing all this stuff, which frankly isn't the best for it. You know, like, it's not like you get underneath a squat bar and say, okay, well, I'm going to twist like this and try to do a squat. No, you want to stay in alignment, right? So you're trying to learn how to get that alignment and all of that kind of stuff at the same time. That'll come during those lighter drilling days, so that when you get to the heavy drill days, maybe the 2 times a month you're going to do takedowns live, you're not going to injure yourself. So guys, I hope this is helpful to you. Let me know, do you drill takedowns where you train? Do you do a lot of them? We do a fair amount here at top level, mainly in our competition training. That's where we spend the bulk of the time for it. We of course teach it and work it lightly in other classes, but takedown training is mainly something we do in competition. But what about you guys? What do you do? I'd love to know. Talk to me in the comments. Thanks for watching.